What does Elvis diplomacy mean, and what is its purpose?
Elvis diplomacy is actually a term that I coined myself. With a lot of research about diplomacy and soft power, so there's something called cultural diplomacy. So often it can be sporting events, but it's also like cultural things, which includes music. And so a lot of countries have composers and musicians and so on. So there's one specific case that comes to mind. In 2006, George W. Bush was the United States President, and the incumbent Japanese Prime Minister at the time, I can't pronounce his name, but the bottom line is President Bush recognized that his Japanese counterpart was a die-hard Elvis fan. I'm not sure that Bush himself was such an Elvis fan, but if you want to do your best for enhancing relations, you have to take into account what the other person wants to do. And he did something totally outside of the presidential handbook, which was actually not a common thing for Bush. He was more conservative in how he ran his presidency. And it's, to the best of my knowledge, it's the only time an incumbent United States president has taken an incumbent visiting world leader to someone else's private residence in the United States. So he took the Japanese Prime Minister on Air Force One to Memphis, Tennessee to visit Graceland. And there were special arrangements that Elvis's late daughter, Lisa Marie Presley, and her mother, Priscilla Presley, were private tour guides for the Japanese Prime Minister, and he had a total ball, put on sunglasses, and he was singing Lovely Tender and can't help falling in love. And clearly, on a personal level, President Bush had made, in my view, major diplomatic mileage from what I'm going to describe as engaging in Elvis diplomacy. And on the other side, President Bush was a champion of democracy and the right to protest and so on. There were actually protesters protesting the issues of the day, and specifically the protesters with the Japanese Prime Minister was the Japanese, there's issues with whaling. So the protesters were dressed up as Elvis. There were 4 protesters singing Don't Be Cruel, dressed up as Elvis. And in my view, as on the other side of the democratic equation, the protesters did a very good job of getting the Japanese Prime Minister's attention. I suspect at that moment, security probably would have separated them, but if the Japanese Prime Minister was reflecting on the visit, for sure protesters dressed up as Elvis singing Don't Be Cruel would have at least got his attention.
I want to ask, do you think that Elvis diplomacy is something that should be implemented on a regular basis within the presidency?
Very good question, Hein. It's one of these things. It needs to be customized for the right situation. Like before a world leader visits, so one of the jobs of White House staffers is to do investigations and find out what the visiting world leader likes and is interested in. So in the situations where world leaders, the research shows an interest in Elvis, I think it's an excellent idea. In instances where there's no evidence of an interest in Elvis, then give it a pass. People are different, and you've got to choose what's likely to be productive on each individual case.